Hello, welcome to Transversal Economy, a channel for economy, supply chain, global trade, and logistics. Today's topic is Global Trade is Breaking, how geopolitical crises are reshaping the world economy for years. Global trade was ruled by lower price of goods and efficiency. Now, those key indicators are being challenged due to wars, sanctions, and political rivalries. Supply chains are no longer just economic systems, they're geopolitical weapons. It's sad to reveal that, but it's the reality. Are we witnessing the end of globalization as we know it? Globalization connected economies like never before. Goods moved faster, cheaper, and more efficiently across continents. To increase companies' profitability, supply chains were optimized down to the last cent due to various events. This economic model is changing now, from the Russia-Ukraine war to rising tensions between the United States and China, and disruptions in critical choke points like the Red Sea or the Straits of Hormuz. Global trade is no longer just about economics, it's about power, control over other nations, or building unfair competitive advantages over other countries. Today you'll learn why global trade is fragmenting, how geopolitics is reshaping supply chains, and what this means for the future of the global economy. Let's stepping in. 1. The old model. Efficiency above all. Global trade was about competitive sourcing, maximizing efficiency, minimizing cost. Supply chains were then built in different parts of the world, manufacturing in Asia, design in North America, raw materials from Africa or Latin America. To function, stability is the foundation. Shipping routes and transportation networks should function. Political risks. Global health issues and geopolitics should be at a manageable level. This gave rise to just-in-time production, hyper-specialization, and record low costs for consumers. This assumption is now collapsing. Events in different parts of the world are challenging to the shock era, when politics hit supply chains. The turning point came with a series of global shocks. First, factories shut down during the big health crisis. Ports clogged. Shipping costs exploded. Then came the Russia-Ukraine war. Energy flows were disrupted. Europe scrambled to replace Russian gas. Food exports from the Black Sea region were threatened. Tensions between the United States and China added to the uncertainty. Tariffs, technology restrictions, strategic decoupling, and more recently, attacks and instability around the Red Sea and the Straits of Hormuz forced shipping companies to reroute vessels, adding time, cost, and uncertainty. Supply chains became tools of national security. From economy, we step into geopolitics and confrontations. International commerce is seriously affected by geopolitics noise. 3. The fragmentation of globalization. We are now entering a new phase, fragmentation instead of one global system. Trade is splitting into blocks. Countries are increasingly trading with allies rather than rivals. A trend often called friend-shoring, near-shoring, reshoring, for example. Western companies are shifting production away from China toward countries like Vietnam or Mexico. Governments are subsidizing domestic industries, especially in strategic sectors like semiconductors and energy. What we are seeing now. Supply chain resiliency is prioritized over supply chain optimization. Taking more secured approach is fundamental now, which means fragmentation will lead to higher costs, duplication of supply chains, slower global growth for supply chains as strategic weapons. Perhaps the most important shift is this. Supply chains are becoming geopolitical. Weapons countries are now leveraging their position in global trade to gain power. Examples include export, controls on critical technologies, restrictions on rare earth materials, sanctions, targeting key industries, logistics hubs. Shipping routes and production networks need to be controlled for strategic advantage. This means businesses must now think like governments. Where are our risks? Who controls our supply chain? What happens if a key route is disrupted? This is a fundamental shift in how the global economy operates. 5. What comes next? A new global trade order. So what does the future look like? We are likely heading toward a hybrid model of globalization, regional supply chains, strategic decoupling in key sectors, continued global trade, but with more friction. Emerging economies may benefit as companies diversify production. We need to expect more complexity, more politics in business decision, more investments to build diversified supply chains. No one can ignore global commerce. Risks in the globalization economy. Conclusion after decoding what's behind global commerce. We can say global trade isn't disappearing, but it is transforming. What used to be driven by cost is now driven by risk. What used to be global is becoming regional, and what used to be economic is now deeply geopolitical. What kind of globalization comes next as supply chains are transforming? Thank you very much. Please support our work by liking, commenting, and subscribing to our channel. See you on the next one.